In this movie, we are going to learn about how to get rid of these horrible garish colors and this horrible garish web-safe color palette and bring in some more well thought out, some nicer color schemes, and how to stick with the color scheme and just set up our palette and our swatches so that we're not tempted to come over here and choose pink or choose lime green or something like that. So we're going to start out by looking at an online web application called Kuler. That's Kuler, and that is at adobe.com. So let's go ahead and open up a browser and take a look at that. It's just at kuler.adobe.com. You'll hit this and you will see a color mixer where you can make your own colors, but we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to go over to this Explorer tab, and we are going to choose something. Actually, we're going to search out something which I've picked out already. To search a color, all you do is come down here to your search, and I am going to search for one called Milan Week. And this is just one that I looked up earlier. And I looked through, actually most popular is the ones I looked through. And you'll see that it has brought up a bunch of them. You see Milan Week, copy of Milan Week, copy of Milan Week, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now, if this were sometime in the future, we could just come in here and download this as a .ase file. That's Adobe Swatch Exchange. However, unfortunately, FlashCC at this point in time, late October 2013, doesn't read that file type yet. Illustrator will, Flash won't yet. So we're going to learn a different way to steal colors. So instead of downloading, I'm going to simply make my window smaller and bring it down to the bottom. One does not simply make your window smaller. I'm going to come back to Flash, make this window smaller. My idea here is that I want to be able to see the paint bucket chip and these colors at the same time. And what we're going to do is use our Eyedropper tool to sample these. However, before we do that, we must banish ugly web-safe color palette. Okay? Anytime that you come into your Swatches panel, the default is going to be this web-safe colors if you haven't set it to be something else. We're going to see that up in the panel menu up here, you have a bunch of options. And we are going to choose to clear this color set. And you'll see that that's cleared it down to black and white and a gradient. I don't even like that. I want to get rid of the gradient. To get rid of a swatch, you select it. Even though it's the eyedropper, clicking on it, you can see that it's got a bit of a white highlight around it. Select it, come up here, and choose Delete Swatch. And at this point, we're not able to select multiple swatches and delete them. I don't know why. I'd like to be able to do that, to delete a bunch of them, but no such luck. We're also going to select this white and delete it because we instead are going to use a white that is a tint or a tint, basically, that's related to our colors in our color set instead of this pure white. So we will pick this one and delete it as well. Now oops, what did I do? I think I probably hit duplicate. So we are down to black only. Now, if I don't want to go through this whole set of steps again of deleting swatches, getting rid of things, I can actually save this black only as a color set. Unfortunately, you can't save nothing at all, but you can save one color only. So I'm going to see how to do that. We come to our panel menu again and choose Save Colors, and we're going to save this in our well, hey, how about that? I've already saved it as black only. Let's go ahead and just save this as black only 2 and save. And if we look at our, folder, you'll see there's black only. That's one that I did earlier, and here's black only 2. Now, what that does that's nice is allows us to start a new movie, which we're going to do just to show you. New action script 3. And you'll look, there we are, back to the default ugly web-safe colors. Can you tell I don't like web-safe colors? Okay, now what we're going to do is choose Replace Colors. And we'll choose that color set that we just made. And there we've just very quickly replaced it with that new color set. Now, we want to add some colors here. To do that, first of all, I'm just going to get rid of that horrible pink swatch color. Choose my eyedropper tool. Now, the eyedropper tool does something kind of cool. If you hover over the fill color chip, click down and hold down. I'm holding my mouse down, and then you can roll it over anything on your screen. It can be outside of the Flash environment, just anything on your screen. So I'm going to roll over this seemingly gray color and select it, or actually let go of my mouse with it rolled over, and you can see that it's put that in the chip. Come up here, your eyedropper, whenever it's within the bounds of the Swatches panel, automatically changes to a paint bucket. Just click once, and that has put a swatch for that color. So we're going to do it again. Hover over, click and hold, roll over your desired color, let go, come up, click in your Swatches panel. Breathe in, roll over, hover down, release, click. There's lots of ways to steal colors. This is just one of them. And this is good for a color set with just 5 colors or something. We'll talk about some other ways to steal colors, like from photographic images and stuff later. Alrighty, so now I have my Milan Week color set here. This isn't quite everything I want for my color set. Actually, I'm going to add quite a bit to this as we go. But we don't need Kuler anymore. So we can actually just minimize this window. I'm going to leave it open just in case we want to come back. We'll make Flash a lot bigger. And as you're looking at your color panel, you will notice that you can move it in and out. And as you move it out, the swatches will grow. But then you get to a certain point and they'll get tiny again. I wish we had control over this as well, because I can't see those things. Okay, what we want to add to this color set is pure, clean versions of these colors. In order to do this, we need to learn a little bit about our color mixer tool. Let's start off with this seemingly gray color. I'm going to choose that. You'll see that clicking on the swatch puts it in my fill color. I'm going to click the color mixer tool, and there is my color. Okay? Now, mostly, you've probably worked in CMYK colors. Those are ink colors for printing. Or you may have worked in RGB colors. That's red, green, and blue, where we define the color as percentages of the 3 primary light colors. We are going to look now at something called Hsb Color. This stands for Hue, Saturation, and Brightness. Now, hue is actually the color. It's where on the color wheel this color happens to fall. You know, you've seen the color wheel. It goes around with all the different primaries, secondaries, tertiaries, and whatever the fortiaries are. What are they called? I can't remember. Anyway, color wheel goes around in 360 degrees, and in that 360 degrees, it goes from red through to kind of purpley, blue, green, yellow, orange, back to red. These are your 360 degrees of color. This color happens to fall at 227. Why is it so gray? Well, actually because the saturation, that's the density of the color. It's how much of the pigment is there, if you want to think it in terms of paint or something like that. Saturation is only 12%, and the brightness is 29%. So this is a dark color, and it's unsaturated. It's desaturated, I should say. Let's see what happens when we crank up the saturation up to 100%. And crank up the brightness to 100%. There we see what number 227, that's 227 degrees on the color wheel, actually is. So that other color we were looking at is the same hue. It's hue number 227, but it was desaturated. That means color was pulled out. It was moved towards gray, and the brightness was moved down, which moves it towards black. So this is what that pure version of that color is. I always like to have the pure version of the color in my swatches panel if I want to start from scratch. So can you believe that color and that color actually start at the same hue? If you want to start organizing your color panel, you can come up to your panel menu and choose Sort by Color, and it's going to say, hey, there's two number 227s. I'm going to put them right next to each other. Okay? You can see from this then that you could change these colors to quite a number of different shades, and we will do that as time goes by. However, I just wanted to show you how this does relate to the color wheel. 227 degrees, I'm going to come up here with my double arrow slider here and go down to 0, and you can see 0 is red. We're going to go around the color wheel. We're going to go to 180. Oops, missed it. Close enough. And we're going to see there is this kind of cyan color. That's the complementary color to that red. We can move further over and look at that. Back around 360, we're back to red again. Okay, so that has, what we've done now is we've got the manipulated color, we've got the pure color. I want to do that for the rest of my colors. Let's guess what this color would be. Well, take its brightness all the way up, take its saturation all the way up, and it's nice and pumpkin-y. Good for October. We're going to add that to our swatches. Let's come down here. Oh, I forgot to look and see what number that one was. This is Hue 36. And you will find that occasionally the hue will change. Like, look at that. This is giving me 37 for the hue, while I changed it and that came out to 36 over here. Close enough. I think Flash is trying to give us colors that are within the gamut of, or things that the computer can display. I think that's what's going on there. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't seen a good explanation of that, but that's my suspicion. Anyhow, 36, 37 degrees, close enough for me. So let's go back and we will choose this one. Come back to color. We can see this is 53. So we'll turn the brightness all the way up. Look at that. That's really desaturated. That's only 4% saturation. That's why it's almost white. Change, add, crank back up the saturation, and you see that's a very yellow color that's making up our white. So we're going to come in here, put our yellow in there. We're going to go to this next white, and look at this. This one is also 53 degrees. So the person who made Milan Week actually gave us two colors in our color set that were actually two versions of the same hue. So, do we need to make a light version? Nah. Do we have any more? Yes, we've got this greeny one. Okay. Saturation way down at 26%. Watch what happens as I crank up the saturation. You will see, as you're cranking it up, that your chip down here, I can't really show you without letting go and messing this up, but your chip shows you before and after. So I release. There it is at full saturation. Here it is at full brightness. And we will go ahead and click that to put that there. I am going to organize it by color, but I want one more color. I don't know if you remember last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever. Remember that horrible pink? The FF00FF. This is the pink that I will never use. So I always use it for masks and guidelines and stuff. So I remember that I don't intend for that object that I make in this color to be seen. I want to add this to my color set too. So I can come in here. I'm just clicking this to bring up my swatches panel. I'm going to click within the hex number for this. And it is FF00FF. That means all the red, none of the green, all of the blue in hex numbers. We'll talk about that later sometime too. Hit return. Ugh, there's that horrible color. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my color set. And now we will sort them by color. And you will see that it's put these versions of the red and yellow and stuff together. And here's the yellow going to the shades of white, the green, and the other green. It hardly looks green at all with that bright one next to it. And there's that grayish blue and the blue and horrible pink. Now we want to go ahead and save this. And we will save this the same way that we did before. I'm going to hit Save Colors, and I'm going to call this Demo. colors. We're going to keep coming back to this color set and adding to it and changing it. But we will go ahead and just save it for now. We also are going to make some other movies. So I would really like to have this come up as my default color set in my other movies instead of the horrible Web 216 colors. Okay, so what we're going to do is come up here and choose Save as Default. Flash is going to be all mommy on me and say, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm going to say, yes, Flash, I'm sure. Why don't you give me a little option to never see this dialog box again? I don't know. So I'm going to say yes here. And now that's my default color set. Just to make sure, I'm going to make a new movie. And we're just going to see. Sure enough, here's Untitled 3, my new movie. And there's my color set automatically. Alrighty, this is how to make our color sets and steal things off of Kuler. It's really not stealing, it's borrowing. And how to save color sets and how to load them in. So that's going to end this movie.